Greetings and salutations, YouTube. Remember this? Give a little update on this. If you don't know what this is a Walkera x350 quadcopter. And yeah, my initial impressions of this machine is if you've never flown RC and are looking to get into the hobby, don't start with this one. You'll be very disappointed, and very rapidly you'll be out of $400. So this is the second body chassis, whatever, the second frame, and it's like an exoskeleton. There's no internal frame inside this thing. This is just a plastic body that all the electronics are housed in. And this is the second one I've had, and then last week I was out flying it, and I got tangled up in the power lines over here. Fortunately for me, I did not create a blackout here in Pahrump, but it did schmuck that up pretty good, and the speed controller for this arm is housed in here, and it broke that. So I got a new speed controller, and I've decided that I'm not going to spend another $30 on one of these frames, and I'm just going to get a generic quadcopter frame. And the mailman showed up today, so we're going to go from this to this, which is just a simple little X frame. The advantage of doing this is that this frame is half the cost of the body kit for the Walkera, and it does away with the power distribution board, because the bottom of the frame here is a power distribution board. If you notice, these little gold tabs in here are all soldering locations. So you have your main battery lead right here, it's positive, negative, and it goes to these different lugs in the corners here, and that's where you'd solder in your speed controllers for your motors. So I got to take the Walkera apart and desolder some stuff, and put it on here, see if the motors bolt up. I hope they do. But this thing was like 15 bucks. Yeah. Well, that's what it looks like after it was all put back together. Got the flight controller and the radio receiver and GPS dealio here, and yeah, I had to get a thing to reduce the power from 12 volts to 5 volts to power the battery signal in the controller so it would work. And I got bigger props. These are off the x350 Pro. Yeah, and yeah, these are all the motors and the ESCs off the x350 that I kept crashing, and everything worked all honky-dory. Well, I shouldn't say that. Ever since this ESC burnt, I don't know if it's this one, but one of them burnt back in March and took out the flight controller. And I bought a new flight controller, but and then I promptly, not promptly, but then I crashed it again violently, and after that I could never get the GPS to work correctly. If you flip that switch, that 3-position switch, to the GPS hold mode, it was like if you had the quadcopter on a string and we're swaying it like this is what it would do. And then if you hit the return to home, it would, you know, crash. You'd have to flip the switch to fly mode, and it would, and you'd take over and fly it. But I got good enough at flying this where I didn't need all that GPS stuff, and I think right now I'm ready to build a proper quadcopter. Well, what happened last night? I was out flying. I took this to Michigan, by the way, and flew it quite a bit out there, and had a couple of incidences out there where the thing just behaved really weird. So I didn't dare fly it over the lake. But the last night I was out here flying, and I was, you know, just having a little great old time flying my quadcopter, and I got it over the cul-de-sac here, and this motor decided to detach itself from the base. And when it did that, it stopped turning, and this thing cartwheeled into the ground and actually broke the frame. Yeah. So I don't think it did anything to the power distribution board, which is good. I'll have to look over it real good. This is the bottom of the frame. It's also the power distribution board. All your battery power goes into this and is sent to the different ESCs through the distribution board. So you don't have to have a separate board, which is cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep the radio and the receiver. All this other shit's going to go away. I'm going to get new motors, new props. These props are pretty, I mean, they work a lot better than the other props. They're a little bit bigger and they have a different pitch. But yeah, these are going to go bye-bye. And I don't think I'm ever going to revive the x350. So my recommendation, based on my own real-life experience, if you've never flown a quadcopter before, are looking to get into the hobby, start with a little tiny one. You can find them on Amazon, eBay, 30, 40 bucks. Learn how to fly first, and then graduate into the bigger one. Once you get into anything over 120 millimeters, this is 450 millimeters, and that's the cross from axle to axle across the X. And all the parts came off a 350 quad. So if you're in the market for a 350 quad, the great thing about it is that the market is expanding. There's a lot more competition out there. It used to be just kind of 3. Now I just think there's at least a half a dozen that make a 350 quad ready to fly out of the box. Don't waste your money on a Walkera. The jury's still out. I'm still waiting to hear RC Model Reviews do the review on the 350 Pro. They advertise 25 minutes of flight time, and everything's different about different radio, different flight controller. And I'll be interested to see how that thing works out. But this x350, don't waste your money. Save your money and get something else, or just build your own. Learn the hobby that way. But that x350 I bought was junk. I'm gonna have to rebuild that one, or I'm gonna have to build a hex. Just kind of wanted to do anyway. But I think I'll start by building a new quad, because I have. Where's my case? I built a really cool case for it. That's the case for my quad. So when I rebuild it, I will make a video. It's like everything else. It's funny, you know, once you get into this YouTube thing, that you start to view everything that happens in your life as a video opportunity, which is kind of cool. And some of them people like, some of them not so much, but yeah, it's back on the bench again. The thing spends more time on the bench than it does in the air. But okay, till next time, rate, comment, and subscribe, and you have yourself a splendid day. We'll go back inside where the air conditioning's on. It's hotter than Hades out here. Bye.